So today we are going to be talking about one of the most long-awaited reruns to date when it comes to the value of a character, and that is by far going to be Silverwolf. Yes, she is going to be getting her banner alongside Argenti, and the best thing is that they actually share 4 stars, which if you already know how Argenti's banners look, then you know by far that Silverwolf is going to have an insane amount of value for anybody summoning on it, because not only are you getting one of the craziest debuffers in the game by far, which is Silverwolf, you are also going to be getting the crazy 4 stars that are going to be on it, which are Asta, who is an amazing support, Hanya, who's going to be our brand new 4-star, and also Lynx, who is a crazy good sustain as well. So overall, really big W's when it comes to any multi that you put in that banner, because you're always going to get something good out of it. So that's a really good thing to see, that for newer players, this is by far maybe a must summon banner, just because of how much value you're going to be getting out of this, whether it be a new sustain unit or 2 really good support units, or even one of the best debuffers in the game, you are by far going to get an extreme amount of value. But today, the main point of this video isn't to talk about the value of the banner, because we already know it's already there. It's already apparent that this is one of the craziest values when it comes to a banner today. Today is really going to be talking about Silverwolf, and is she still viable in this day and age when it comes to the meta that we have right now and all the enemies that we are fighting? Is Silverwolf still it? And of course, a lot of people are already saying, and yes, I can clarify to you, Silverwolf is still by far one of the craziest units in the game for sure, just because she, yes, defies the laws of this game. She breaks the rules of this game fundamentally, making it so that you don't have to match weakness. You can literally force the enemy to be weak to whatever element you want if you build the team the right way, and it is already a crazy thing to have. And not only that, on top of forcing weaknesses on enemies, you also get a fat ton of debuffs that can come from her ultimate, her basic attack, and her skill, whether it be a huge defense shred, attack decrease, speed decrease. There is so many things that go under her belt. She is just that much of an amazing unit. But when it comes to all the new units, all the new characters coming out, also all the enemies that are coming out, how is she still standing in the test of time when it comes to patch 1.5? And to say this, it really depends on what type of player you are. I do want to start this off with the free-to-play players for sure, just because the free-to-play players are coming either as a newer player or a veteran player, and Silverwolf is by far someone you should definitely be looking for. Silverwolf is going to save you money or save you pulls in the long run, and I just want to go ahead and say this will by far allow you to have much more fun in the game if you do end up pulling Silverwolf. And this does sound like a really big praise, but it's honestly true. In the far future, even if you don't want to pull for every element DPS, which of course it might be, I guess you say, optimal to be able to do so you won't need Silverwolf, if you don't have to pull every single element DPS, you can literally force one side of MOC to make sure that you are having that weakness applied to the enemy, and then they have a fat ton of debuffs on them already, making them take more damage, and you can use whatever DPS you want. This allows you to have a little bit more fun, play with the characters that you want to play with if you have Silverwolf on the team, and it is a very big good thing to have for free-to-play players and for players that don't spend as much. For players that do end up spending for a good amount, and you're probably already watching this video saying, I'm already going to summon for everybody, why do I even need to listen to this? Well, to be honest, you shouldn't really get Silverwolf, and this sounds like a really crazy thing. If you are going to be spending a good amount on this game, which if you are, why are you watching this video? But if you are going to be spending a good amount on this game, I do recommend that you probably skip her if you aren't going to really be using her on something like Mono Quantum, which of course is another really great unit. I don't use my Silverwolf anymore just because, yes, I have every element DPS. We have Topaz, Blade, Don Hung, Jingli Jingyuin, Sele. All the elements are already there with all the DPSs. And when you get to that point where now you're just starting to build supports for that specific DPS, Silverwolf doesn't really have a really nice spot to be in other than Mono Quantum, which I think is going to be a crazy team very soon, just because we are going to have Sele, of course. We have Fu Xuan already. Silverwolf is going to be there, and Shui Yi might be able to bring some really crazy stuff when it comes to her being in the Mono Quantum team. So that team by far, very efficient, very optimal of resources. If you are going to be going for that type of team as a free-to-play player or even a veteran player, you quite literally can just brute force any side of MOC that you want with that team, because you are going to always be applying that quantum weakness on them. But to be realistic, with all the stuff that's happening in the game right now, we are shifting towards a more AoE centric battle type of focus, because yes, there's enemies that are non-stop either spawning from that new enemy that spawns in enemies infinitely until they lose a certain amount of their HP. I'm talking about the Cyrus enemy from the event for REHOO. And then there's also just waves where the bosses are spawning in their own set of ads, and we're getting either 4 to 5 enemies almost every MOC. And this is very apparent that a lot of the single target damage that we're getting in this game isn't going to be able to take care of all those mobs all at once. Of course, we do have exceptions, because yes, Sela has Resurgence, Sushong has Advanced Forward, so these characters do have their ways to failsafe out of that AoE centric worry of all the enemies that are going to be out there. But when you look at Silverwolf and you have all these AoE enemies, or you have Cyrus who's basically refreshing the enemies non-stop, is it really worth putting Silverwolf on there when they're just going to get rotated out really quickly because they have low health? Or by the time you kill that enemy, you could have gotten more use from somebody maybe like Pella, who's been regarded as even better than Silverwolf, which it kind of makes sense, because Pella, not only is she amazingly skill point positive, but her ultimate hits the full wave and gives a massive defense shred. So there are other options that kind of fill in Silverwolf's role that you don't really need to have her if you're trying to solely boost your team's damage. But she does make future characters very easily to build for or to use them in any way, shape, or form. She allows you to have a lot more fun when you do have Silverwolf on the team, because you can always make sure maybe your favorite unit is maybe Himiko, right? If whatever side of the MOC doesn't have fire by any chance, well, you can just plop Silverwolf in there and now you can use Himiko. So in all honesty, although Silverwolf is an amazing unit, she is getting shifted out a little bit when it comes to the AoE centered fights that we're looking at and all the enemies that are constantly refreshing, having low health bars. It really isn't really worth it to be putting Silverwolf on a team for the most part, because a lot of the teams that we have right now, or a lot of the enemies that we're fighting right now, do consist of a lot of AoE damage. And it's the same thing that goes with Hanya, or putting a single debuff on one target. You're really having to spread your damage out like crazy. And yes, that target who's taking more damage is most likely going to be the boss. I feel like you might get a little bit more value when it comes to either using another support or either putting Pella on the team. So depending on how you want to look at it, Silverwolf is still an amazing character by far. And if you are a free-to-play player, I do want to say that characters like REHOO, and yes, I'm going to put REHOO right there, but characters like REHOO and Silverwolf are actually going to allow you to have more fun on your account, allow you to build more teams that you want, because they're going to be fulfilling roles of a lot of different things and also bending the rules of Honkai Star Rail so that you're able to have fun with whatever team that you want or have. So this character by far still has an amazing amount of value, is still very strong, but as we see from the new enemies and a lot of the newer modes having a fat ton of enemies on the field, Silverwolf is waning a little bit. She is still amazing, but having a lot of other characters like Pella, like Tingyun, like Asta, who are like basically buffing the whole team or either shredding the whole wave of enemies that are in front of you, this is a lot more valuable, and this holds a lot more, I can say, potential versus having Silverwolf and applying that weakness and only doing this to one enemy. That's the only fault of Silverwolf, is that she lacks AoE. And if there was some type of character that's, let's say, Silverwolf 2.0, where she's implanting a full wave weakness or she's implanting full wave defense shred, then that'd be by far one of the stupidest units out there, to be honest. But of course, with how strong Silverwolf is, having it condensed to one target only makes a lot of sense. You're still able to use whoever you want, play with whoever you want. I think Silverwolf right now is more of a money saver unit versus a unit you would use to efficiently and optimally take down a boss or something like that, because you could probably use some other character to be able to fill in that role and give more stats or more type of debuffs to them or to more enemies at once. I do think Silverwolf is more of that type of character where if you want to use your favorite unit more, if you want to force your way through with the units that you have so you don't have to waste more jades on the appropriate element DPS, Silverwolf is by far an amazing choice for that. And other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to how I think about Silverwolf. I do think she's still amazing, but by far we are seeing new type of enemies, new type of battles that are just constantly refreshing low health enemies, or either you probably would get the same amount of output when it comes to using characters like Pella or Tingyun, or having a mixture of a bunch of these other supports, giving you a fat ton of more skill points than Silverwolf would, and also providing more resources, maybe like energy, attack, total damage output. There's just a lot of stuff that other characters do that Silverwolf can't do. And although, like I said, Silverwolf is still very strong with that implant weakness and the defense shred, I think she is more of a free-to-play money saver than a more optimal choice on the team. I really do think the only team for sure that is just going to always prefer Silverwolf to be on it would be Mono Quantum, and that team by far is super cracked. I cannot wait for Shui Yi to come out. But other than that, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think about Silverwolf if you're going to be summoning on her banner, which I think is a pretty crazy value for any player in all honesty, especially for newer players for sure. But on that, let me know what you think about Silverwolf currently, if she's still good, if she's bad, all that type of stuff. But on that, thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all in the next one, and peace.